Good morning, everyone. I would first like to take some time to thank Miss Naomi Doyle for having me today to speak about something that is essential and very important for the times that we're going through right now. Today's topic is going to be over resilience during difficult times. How do we develop resilience? What does that even mean? And if I don't know what it means, how can I incorporate it into my everyday life? So that's what I'm here to discuss with you guys today. This is just a quick little short video to go through the steps and things that you can do to have resilience in your life. So starting off with, what does resilience even mean? From a psychological standpoint, resilience is mental steps and processes and behaviors that a person can use as far as their personal assets to be able to shield and protect themselves from the negative parts of life's stressors. Now, what I wanted to do was kind of break down resilience in a kind of stepped kind of way. So not in a one, two, three, four, this is how you develop resilience, but I thought this word was a great way to use it as an acronym to show all of the things that can go into a person having resilience and using it on a daily basis. So we'll start off with the R, relationships. Relationships are essential for all of us. We are social creatures and we love having people in our lives. Now, this can vary on a spectrum from individual to individual. You have your more extroverted people that love hanging out and being around others. They love having that sense of community. And then you have individuals that are more along the lines of your more introverted individuals that prefer, some more time to themselves so they can rest and recharge and just kind of like doing their own thing. Now, this does not mean that introverts do not like to be around people, it just varies with degree. With relationships, this can be a variety of types. This is not just family or just romantic or just friends. It is all types of relationships that we can have. It is friends, co-workers, teachers, professors. If you are involved in any type of spiritual or religious community, this can be your clergy, your pastor, your rabbi, all of those types of things, your church goers. Uh, it is through these types of bonds that we get some of our strength. Being able to go to someone and talk about the things that you're struggling with, being able to have that support. So if you need a shoulder to lean on or even cry on at times, that you have someone there to be able to help you through those moments. Relationships help us see ourselves in a different light, being able to get feedback from other people on how we are doing in various parts of our life, how we are managing the daily aspects. Relationships also help us feel connected to our environment. So relationships is probably one of the biggest pieces of resilience, is having some sort of community. It does not have to be a huge, large, gigantic community. It can be just a few key people in your life. But having those bonds are very essential for you being able to use your assets to get through life stress. The second piece would be examine yourself. Now, this does not mean that you like in a medical kind of doctor kind of way, but this is more taking stock of what is going on with you on an internal level. Our body is really good at giving us signals that something is going wrong. Now, this could be something like, oh, my neck hurts, that kind of tension, you're moving around doing that kind of thing. This may be clenching your jaw, kind of talking like this, or you find yourself, with your shoulders hiked up and you didn't even realize you were sitting that way. So if you're doing it right now, if you notice it, I want you to relax your shoulders and sit back. Our body is really good at letting us know that it's storing something that needs to be released. So I would say examining yourself to take stock of what is going on with you. Have you been having indigestion lately? Have you been having more headaches? Or have you been having some sort of other gastro problems? Are you stiffer than usual? Have you been having, some people, they have the eye twitch. Our body will let us know, hey, there's something I'm dealing with, and I need you to kind of, fix it, and help me. So paying attention to what's going on. So when I say examine yourself, this doesn't necessarily mean going somewhere to get an examination, but to just really head to toe look at what's going on for yourself. Next would include sleep. Now, this is something many of us skimp out on and do not get enough of throughout the night. On a doctor recommended level, we typically say you want to get somewhere between 7 to 9 hours. That would be a decent amount. The thing is, you want to make sure it's quality sleep. So, how do we start developing quality sleep? What does sleep hygiene mean? And how does sleep hygiene fit in resilience? Well, one of the things that sleep does is it restores our body. And then when we feel less fatigue and tired, we're able to handle some of the stresses that come along with life in a much more kind of cool, calm, collected, level headed manner. So, having enough sleep is very essential for us on a, just kind of basic level. How you start developing a sleep hygiene routine, just a few quick little ways to start now, is first you want to start going to bed at a pretty consistent time throughout the week. So if you typically go to bed around 11, so try to keep it within a 30-minute window of when you would normally get into the bed. So somewhere between either 10:30 and 11, or if you normally get in at the bed at 11, so between 11 and 11:30, you want to kind of keep it within that 30 minutes of your normal time. So you also want to start doing something like limiting your electronic usage throughout the night, progressively, and especially about an hour before you really go to sleep. There's a lot of research about light and how it keeps our brain active, and keeps us going because it kind of simulates daytime. So you want to start reducing your usage of electronic activities about an hour before you go to bed, and doing something that's not electronic. This may include things like reading, doing puzzles. So people that like Sudoku or crosswords, uh, sipping some tea, talking to somebody, journaling, meditating. There's all kinds of non electronic activities that you can start doing somewhere between the hour and 30-minute mark before you go to bed. This would include turning off like your overhead lights. So some of us call it the big light. So turning off your overhead lights, using lamps, things like that. When I'm working with clients, I usually recommend a soft pink bulb for their bedrooms. It's a little less harsh than your bright whites or even your soft whites. Now, for our people that don't like the color pink, it is not going to turn your room pink. It's just going to soften some of the light that's in that room and keep it, nice and easy, breezy, and calm. So that would be my quick, fast fire ways to start developing a sleep routine. If I was going to add anything in there for a short period of kind of like if you need something now, would be cool room. So you want something that's pretty cool because overheating can also lead to difficulty with rest because it's hard to sleep when you're hot. Next on the list would be inquiring from others. So, like I said a little bit earlier about having relationships being a very important part of developing resilience, using those relationships to inquire from others about how they've handled things in the past. Being able to ask, I'm going through this thing, how did you get through that? Or what did you do when you were faced with a coworker that was difficult? Being able to ask questions and get answers can help build up your set of assets and your set of behaviors to be resilient when you face challenges. The next piece would be looking for a sense of purpose. Now, this can be a variety of things as well. What are you passionate about? Some people, for example, are very passionate about working with underserved areas. So this may be the homeless or, children that do not have parents that are able to get off work very early. So they have to, do after school programs. What are you passionate about? This may be working with the elderly and visiting older individuals in nursing homes. Find something that gives you something to look forward to and feel like you are a part of your community. Uh, Sense of purpose can also come from things that you're passionate about, like if you're really into the creative arts and you love um, video recording and painting and sculpture or poem writing. What is something that on a base level brings you joy? So you want to look to incorporate those types of activities into your routine so that you can feel that you've got the ability to push forward through the things that you're facing, because you know that there's something that genuinely does bring you peace and joy. After that, I would say invest in a plan. So this is something along the lines of, you need to be able to carve out what is going to happen for you on a daily slash weekly slash monthly basis. So how are you keeping yourself in line? As much as we hate being told to do sometimes, structure is really good for us. It helps us know what to expect and how things are going to move. It helps us prioritize so that we don't feel overwhelmed by life and the things that are happening around us, because I know what my plan is. Sometimes this plan is not as structured, and this can be things like if you are very active on social media, and with all of the things that have been going on recently, you can feel overwhelmed and kind of bogged down with all of the uh, upheaval that's been going on, all of the high tension, lots of emotion. Some people are very sensitive to their environment, so that can kind of get in and start working into them. So a plan could include things like, okay, I'm going to only get on social media in the morning, and then I'm not getting on for the rest of the day, or I'll get on a little bit in the morning and a little bit in the afternoon, and then throughout my day, I will limit my social media, or I'm going to do it in smaller chunks throughout the day. I won't read comments, or I will only digest certain types of social media, such as I'm going to go to Pinterest. So I'm not going to stay on Facebook or Instagram all day. I'm going to go over to Pinterest and just look at the things that I enjoy. So that can also be part of developing a plan. Next would be embracing healthy living and healthy thinking. So a part of that could be stuff like exercise, diet. Again, I'm going to go jump back to the beginning and say sleep, because that's an essential part of healthy living and thinking as well. On the thinking side, if you've never been to therapy, you probably never heard the term stinking thinking. So that is when your mind just kind of races and goes through all of these, difficult, sometimes overbearing, overwhelming thoughts. Stuff like, oh my gosh, I have to go do this project tomorrow, or oh no, I have to make sure that I email, John in the morning, or I can't forget to call that client, or oh no, I forgot to pick up this from the store. Sometimes when we get ready to lay down at night, our mind floods us with all the thoughts from earlier in the day, or we replay a certain thing over and over, or we say negative things about ourselves. So I'm no good, I'm not helping out enough, I'm a more extreme end of that, maybe I'm a failure. So our mind can kind of start getting us lower and lower and lower. So with that, I say embrace healthy living and healthy thinking. So the more you pour into yourself, the more you're able to withstand some of those pressures, because you've learned how to challenge those thoughts. Is this thought based off a reality and actual facts? Do I have evidence that supports what's going on in my head? Or is this just something that I've been thinking? Sometimes we have a thought in our head and we believe that it is true 100%, but sometimes it's not. Just because you think and feel something, that is 100% real, but it's not always true. So we have to be able to challenge that and see, is this based off what I'm feeling, or is there something that's actually supporting this? And then based off whatever your answer is, you can change and maneuver and deal with it from there. Next would be nurturing yourself. A little bit earlier, we talked about examining yourself. So the next phase of that will be nurturing yourself. Now, this can be a combination of very indulgent things, or functional things. So both of those are necessary when it comes to nurturing you. The indulgent type can be stuff like, going and hanging out with friends and going to dinner, or going to the movies, or going to get a massage, or getting your hair done or cut, or getting your nails done, or going out to a party. Those can be more indulgent types of self care and nurturance. This could include shopping, but I'm going to put a little disclaimer out there for y'all. Don't go overboard with the shopping. But that can be, a way to be indulgent in the types of self care that you're going to engage in. Another type would be functional self care. This can be things like that would also embrace the healthy living piece, going to the gym, eating healthy, getting enough sleep. Again, right back to sleep, because it is essential, because it really does help us deal with what's going on a day-to-day basis when we're not fatigued and tired. And when you're fatigued and tired, you get short with people and you feel irritable. So being able to feel rested can help with that. So as far as the functional sides of self-care and self-nurturance, those can be in there as well. Another thing that I would add in the functional side is sometimes we just need to cry. We have a lot of emotions that are pent up and just sitting there, and our body is trying to tell us it needs a release. So sometimes crying can be very helpful, because it is a way for you to um, let some things out. It's like a pressure cooker or a tea kettle. There's so much pressure that builds up and builds up and builds up, and some of that needs to steam off. So that would be another thing that I would say as far as embracing health and nurturing yourself. Next would be, a change is going to come. Change happens. If you remember that life is a series of ups, downs, backwards, forwards, turnarounds, diagonals, run it backs, life is always filled with change. There are very few things in life that are 100% guaranteed, but change is one of them. That you will have periods of time in your life that are going absolutely perfectly, and you will have times in your life where it seems like everything around you is just a hurricane and it is just crumbling all the time. If you can remember that things do change, sometimes it comes through patience, sometimes it comes through work that needs to be done so that you actively make the change, but that things can and will be different. That light at the end of the tunnel is going to sometimes seem so far and distant, but there are going to be times where it seems very close and it's right in your grasp. So change is going to come. The last piece of developing or having resilience is embrace the path. Again, life is a series of ups and downs and turnarounds, but if you can embrace that, you can get through this, remembering that as of today, you've been able to get through everything you've experienced from day one. Every difficult moment, every setback, every failure that you've had, you've been able to push through all of those, even when they were difficult, and you still have made it here today. So embrace the path that you're on, and remember that you have already done it. So you already have some of these things sitting in you now. So that's it for today. I want to say thank you for having me today and allowing me to just give you a little bit of information about being resilient and having your reminder essentially that you already have this stuff in you. So again, thank you to Ms. Doyle for the invitation, and I hope everyone has a great day.